So first of all, welcome. Congratulations that you
have a cup of tea together.
Yes. Congratulations that you made it. It's really seems to be a difficult one. May 1st. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, beautiful variety of cups and teas.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So today is a big day, and we mentioned part of it in our email, but what we didn't mention is that traditionally 1st of May is what we call Beltane, yeah? This in Irish tradition, a Celtic tradition, it's called the Beltane, and it is the date exactly in between of spring equinox and summer solstice. So this is the day where the couples renew their vows.
This is a day of sacred marriage between God and Goddess.
This is the day where actual creation starts. So in the equinox, we had like the day started to overcome the night. So the day started to be longer each day. But now in this middle, it's really taking the run for the main part of fertility of the year. So
this is where this energy of life force is at its absolute kind of ripeness and the peak moment. So this is the night where, you know, traditionally people, why did they celebrate even, you know, first of May? Because they felt, you know, at that time when people were still feeling the nature, feeling the cycles, they understood that this is the most fertile moment of the year. Well, for the northern hemisphere, of course, because Celtic tradition comes from here, which is the opposite in the southern hemisphere. It would be, you know,
it would be 1st of November.
Today it would be the opposite on southern hemisphere. And how interesting that, as for all very important pagan energetic celebrations, there is something that comes on the top of it and hijacks the date. So, for example, today, instead of celebrating life, joy, absolute completion, you know, freedom between men and women.
Freedom and creativity, yeah, being like creators as gods. So that level of freedom, instead of
celebrating play and fun and, you know, life, it's celebrating labor.
Labor Day, and it's labor, yeah. So that it's very strictly said that you are slave. You have to give labor. So it's not creation day, it's labor day. So, you know, it's like the claws are over the actual power of the day. So among many other things that we are clearing in this period, we are clearing these claws that are actually disempowering powerful days of the Earth cycle and Sun cycle. It has so much to do with sacred sexuality.
Yeah, otherwise, especially today, the concept of God and Goddess coming together through human man and woman is what marks the fullness of the energies, the ripeness of two people wanting to engage in a co-creation. So in this on this background, we will develop our topic. So this time from perspective of alchemy.
Yeah, and so this is something that repeats every year. This year in particular, what we have now is that Venus and Uranus in the house of sexuality, in the house of Taurus, together, and then Mercury came and actually aligned with them. So this is literally Mercury saying, okay, so now we are really about to explore the magic of connection of the male and female. And in a way, this replies a little bit the question that Sheila had last time, what is the sacred sexuality versus the normal sexuality? We didn't have a chance to answer that, but it is actually taking the role of God and Goddess, creating together, and taking the role of really acting as the divinities through the sexual union. So using it as a magic ritual of creation, rather than, you know, something more superficial than that, rather than maybe, you know, doing it for pleasure or, you know, doing it, well, it's raising the level of awareness and sensitivity and precision so that it can become the ritual of creation with actual consequences. And it's easy to check. If we have been precise enough, the consequences will be there. So anyway, that's the background on which we are going to build the information and sharing today.
And when we say sacred sexuality, we never mean that as opposed to a non-sacred or less than that. It's only the bringing in the aspect where the level of consciousness actually contributes to move the energies and something bigger than you through the body. So to access that level, there are some, you know, conditions that need to be fulfilled first, and we'll look into that.
So with that in mind, and with this amazing background, that we are actually surfing on a huge way of redefining sexuality, sacred sexuality, we turn it over to you guys, and let's hear a little bit, how do you feel today after the last week's sharing that opened in a big time this topic, and has something moved in the meantime, and what is your current maybe question or topic around sacred sexuality at this moment? So yeah, let's hear from you guys. Is there something that has changed in the meantime, and do you have something new that is coming up, or we continue where we left off?
Or any question that you would want to be addressed?
Sheila.
Okay. Hi, guys. Nice to see you again.
Hey.
I'm looking forward to listen to you today. From the last Saturday, I was quite confused in a way. So thank you for the answer today about sacred sexuality. Now I can say it more properly than the last time. Interesting. And I don't have any questions for today. I'm just landing in from last week and looking forward today. What will my answers be without, you know, expressing it maybe or something? I'm curious though. So for the moment, yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Sheila. We understand absolutely what you mean, because, you know, Pepe comes from amazing heights of 40 years of being immersed in, you know, like living Zen,
living spirituality.
So it's amazingly simple at that level. But where we are, we might need little steps to get there, because it's not, you know, unless we have 40 years to invest into getting there. So we are going to try to put little steps that might help to get to that level quicker.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sheila.
Okay, one more thing. Is it okay?
Yes.
I just noticed, what I brought with me last week, and it was like all this, you know, 2 hours and talking and listening, and 40 years is like, oh, well, you know, it was a lot of things. I got with me though, you don't have to do anything except to be aware and breathing. So that was nice. So as soon as I was, you know, like, oh, what happened? What did he say? It was like, okay, breathe, be aware. And I think that's good, because I know that from before, and it was like updating, like, okay, just breathing, and then you are aware of yourself in the universe or the world. So I think that was good, though. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's basically all there is. But we have
Yeah.
entangled our minds in complexity. And one thing is to hear it. The other thing is to embody it. Yeah. And we're actually looking to get to the point where we can embody this, automatically being aware of things and what we are, who we are, with whom, why we're doing things. And using the breathing as actually, you know, the only tool that we need and we already have. So this is Pepe set the standard, how easy it is when you have embodied that. And then, you know, we have to a little bit push ourselves up so that it is actually physically as easy as he says.
And I also noticed, through the years, I heard this before about the breathing, like we are so trained to be up in our head. So it's really supporting me or a friend or people around, you know, when they are stressing something, we are up in the head, I think. So it's like to take a deep breath or 3, all good things are 3, then you relax. It's really something is shifting and happening. So that was good. Yeah, good reminder. And we need that for each other once in a while. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. This is, we are going to organize, we are actually now in the moment of organizing the course with Pepe. He will share this in more detail and we will have something like 6 weeks
to slowly go through and actually breathe through all your body to bring this awareness at every level of the body, because we are fascinated by this simplicity that comes after 40 years of every possible practice, strict, non-strict, Buddhist, Zen, active, non-active, that, you know, when you ask the question, so what's your favorite technique? Well, breathwork, you know, and that's all there is. But we need to do a lot of things before we can accept this breathing as the only tool that we need.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank
you so much. Thank you.
So then we have Eleonora and Hannah.
Eleonora, then Hannah, yes.
Hi.
Ciao.
Hi.
Ciao. So actually yesterday I finished reading Magdalene's manuscript.
Ah.
How timely.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's the time to read it. And I had a few pages left. So, and after last session, I have been seeing like the numbers 1111. I don't know what does it mean, like 3 days almost I saw it just randomly, so I don't know if it's related or not, but yeah.
Absolutely related.
And
what is 1 and 1?
It's together. So yeah, and I kind of with myself have decided to move towards the path of sacred sexuality. And yeah, you mentioned that I would like to know about the steps and to be conscious about it and, you know, take it to the next level and so forth.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that sharing.
Thank you.
And it's super timely. You know, that's why we are rushing to offer this to you guys, because now is the time to engage in that, to learn it, to overwrite whatever we used to know, and to actually include this in our lives. Because this is literally the key to creating the world as we want it, and not as somebody from the outside is kind of trying to bully us into doing. This is, you know, our own honing of our own energies and taking them where we want them to go. So amazing timing. Thank you, Eleanor. And Anna?
Well, I just wanted to a little bit speak into and actually ask the question if we can clarify like the discrepancy between the mental understanding of this concept and then how it is acted upon. And that in my case, I have a lot of distrust if people are like kind of preaching about it or teaching. And even with the purity of Pepe, I noticed that I have a hesitation to fully trust, because I kind of know how the word is misused and people explain all about it, and then they just use it to act out on their desires and then put it under the label of sacred sexuality. So actually, I know I have a deep trigger in there, and it's kind of when I distrust people the easiest. But I think there must be also like a collective fear or collective, I don't know, abuse that has happened on some point. And I just wanted to ask if there's anything to undo that trigger, like how to cultivate again the ears to hear and to know the truth from kind of a diluted, energy behind words.
Amazing, amazing question.
Great. And you know, Hannah, it's not just a mistrust. It actually, for those of us who carry, you know, I spoke briefly last time about the codes, yeah, that, you know, some of us do really come in this earth with certain codes that need to be brought to the place where they can blossom. And with the codes comes this little bit distrust in words and concepts that are describing something. Yeah, and you're absolutely right to distrust, because, you know, this is how tantra can take you completely opposite to where you
So-called
need to
tantra,
be, you
yeah.
know. This is how teachings and breathings and movings of energy can completely ruin your spontaneity and your naturalness in these matters. Yeah, so it's very healthy to have these doubts, and actually that's a general advice to everyone. If you want to know about the subject, first you check how is it working for people who are preaching. Second, is it insisting on one truth and one truth only? And the third, you would rather take advice from someone who shows you, who guides you to the place where you can see it for yourself. Yeah, and this is a little bit our intention. You know, we've been sitting quiet about the topic for 4 years, and now we're coming out because exactly we have the same distrust in moving information around, and we only go for what's you know, for what brings you to understand it for yourself.
Yeah, beautiful explanation. And we must kind of understand also the nature of the words. The moment that we utter the word, we have decided to express only partial truth, because full truth cannot even be said in the words. So every word is only the signpost, and signposts should lead towards the place where you actually feel comfortable and you feel the truth firsthand. If it's doubtful, if it's manipulative, we will feel from the gut and we will not engage there. And huge amount of purification is going to be needed, because on purpose, this topic, it's not really random that this topic of sexuality has been so like smeared all over and imbued with impurities and addictions of every sort, because this is where our true power lays. And if we don't have access to it, well, then somebody else can tell us what to do. So through centuries, as we know, it has been misused, it has been on purpose muddled, it has been, like awareness about it has been occulted, hidden in every possible way. So it's our goal to finally open this up, because we need it to go through what humanity is going through now. It is now literally the time of we either do it or we're going to forever forget that we have used to be humans. So the time is now to activate this. So yeah, thank you, Hannah. Absolutely. And you are doubtful and mistrustful with the reason.
Yeah, and experience shows in our lives that this doubt has saved us from many deviations from the topic. So it's a good thing. And your heart will know, when something really matches your own feeling, your heart will know.
David.
Hey, good morning. Well, it's Good midday.
Hi.
I had an insight because I explored recently a topic which is astral love versus real pure love. Astral love, I see it as part of this kind of matrix, you know. So my insight was more about astral love compared with sexuality and pure love with sacred sexuality. The two kind of opposed, I would say. So my question is, well, I'm not sure how to really phrase it. It's just yeah, it's more about being aware of the unconscious patterns that make us, like, how to say, trapped in this. I don't know where I'm going asking this, but it was an insight I had with unconscious patterns influencing our behaviors, and especially with sexuality. So that was just an insight I wanted to bring. Is one thing I have in mind, especially, is like the things that are about persuasion, that it's more about astral realm and basically fooling us. And so I just wanted to bring those words in and see what insights it brings to you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
great, David. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
That is one big
definitely.
layer of interference for sure.
Yeah, parents, and because they didn't know any better. So, of course, they will teach you what they know and what they believe. But of course, they have been also misguided, you know, through centuries of church actually infusing sexuality with all sorts of guilts, all sorts of misaligned functions and all this. And when we say astro, then, you know, it's some words that mean something, but we will see how it ties to the waves of cosmic influences. It, of course, ties to the planetary movements and all that.
You know, when we speak about the astral realms, it's everything that actually deals with the mind and mental ideas about things. Also mental excitement and mental projections. So a lot of things are going on there, but at the end, that real sexuality can be only practiced with the body and with the awareness. A lot of things can be imagined, but the energy only moves in the body. It doesn't move in the thought realm, and that's a distinction that we're going to talk about. If you want to take it to the next level, being present in the body is where we will start.
Mm-hmm. Anne?
Hi. I guess my question is about the timing. Like, when do you know it's kind of ready? The codes are ready to be shared? Is it only about the work with yourself and then the outside shows when it's time? Or how do you know that? I mean, I have a good example of me starting reading the Mary Magdalene manuscript maybe 5 years ago. And before that, I was already maybe 2 years in quite a conscious celibacy. And then when I started to read that, I think I got maybe 10 first pages or 20. Men started chasing me and asking me. There was maybe 5, 6 men who were, I want to get married with you. I want to have a baby with you. I have to run. There was my boyfriend 20 years ago messaged me, and there was guys here in Bali Street chasing me, and that hasn't happened here that much. I was like, okay, I just put the manuscript. Okay, not time to read this yet. It's still somewhere in the cupboard or somewhere. So I guess my question is about the timing, when you are ready, and maybe that wasn't my book to read at the moment, or maybe I just need to have the direct source experience. So I guess that's my question.
Yeah, we will answer that. But one thing to actually point out here is, what did they guys mean when they came to you and said that they want to marry you? So if this is the first thing that the guy says, it might mean that I want to imprison you and I want you all for myself. So, you know, what do they really mean? Why would they kind of come with that proposition without even knowing you yet? So of course something has moved in the sexual energy. So the guy's interests are magnetized to that. But what is exactly their intention? To me, none of them who says that they come here for the baby or they come here for the marriage is, it's like Hannah says, something more is hidden behind those words, because nobody comes to meet somebody for the baby. It's, like.
But actually what they feel is, of course, this field, they feel the feminine field, and they are extremely attracted to that, and they want to have it for themselves. But regardless,
Yes.
it's when you say about the timing and this book, it's great, because most of you, I think, you have heard of Tom Kenyon book, Mary Magdalene Manuscript, that gives this overview and actually clear instructions and exercises to practice conscious sacred sexuality. But the interesting thing is with this book, how it comes in people's lives. So for some people, it just appears, like you rent Airbnb and the book is there. For some people, like, I ordered this book for Zana. It never came. It was never being reordered again. Like, it was completely, the other book that we lended her just went away as well. So this book from one person's life kept escaping. In other person's life, it just dropped on the table and was there out of the blue. For some, it has been there the whole time, but unable to open or read.
So it's really a magical manuscript. We can say that it's one of those books that are imbued with very important knowledge behind those words. And when you are ready, you will read through it, and probably not even necessary to read the whole book. Even like the first part of it holds all the keys that are necessary.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing. The book usually, when the book is truly encoded and truly sacred, it's not to be read. It doesn't matter what's written in there. It's you open and you just connect to that frequency and vibration. So when you're how to know when you're ready to open? Well, you can't miss on that moment. You can't miss on the moment, and maybe you have some steps that are ready, but some that are not ready yet. Maybe your whole body, the codes are active, your whole body is kind of ready for that, but some part of purification hasn't been done, or something hasn't been released or forgiven yet. So we have to look at it from global perspective and how it sits in your life.
But let's not answer all the questions right now. It's let's get maybe into the topic, and we will answer them as we go, because we have quite a bit to share. But let's hear if anyone else has a question to actually cover through what we're going to be covering. And if not, let's dive right in.
Yeah.
And I just want to say hi to who is Gir or GER, who just joined us. We haven't had you before, so we welcome you and hope to see your face. Hi.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Thank you.
Yeah, tell us your name.
I'm Giri. It's spelled like
Gary. Okay.
Giri. Yeah.
Great. Welcome. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so
we will take today the perspective of alchemy. That's actually alchemy is a technology. It's a technology of magic, but what it does, it creates actually very precise
let's not use the word magic. It's a little bit loaded word, but it's a technology.
Well, yeah, it's a technology, so it has to be precise, it has rules, and it has steps and stages. And we will take it through that, and you'll understand how much it actually applies to every area of our life. Yeah. And when we want to look at sexuality through the perspective of alchemy, we have three very distinct stages. How you understand the principle of alchemy, we have been talking about it forever. It's to change something plain and ordinary into something extraordinary. So from base metal into gold, yeah? So that is the purpose of alchemy, to transform from the same matter into something more noble. So how does it apply to sexuality? What is the plain version of it and what is the gold version of it? Let's see. And it has three big chapters.
Well,
how it goes.
these chapters are actually from our own experience and how we have approached this topic and how we worked from it. So it's already simplified. So we know to how many negative influences we have been connected to when we speak about sexuality, from those fears and guilts and addictions and like
church overlay,
even like the overlay of commercials that are selling things through sexuality, through the general culture that actually infuses us with anxiety around sexuality, performance, and all these things. So a lot of those energies are imbued in us so that we don't have really the pure and sensitive space to engage in sexuality with complete openness and actually the nuance of feeling and directing the energies that are happening and being exchanged there. So it's like too much noise coming from every direction. So first step.
Well, actually, there has never been a safe space to even understand what's your natural sexuality. There's no training ground. There's no preparation. It's straight in somehow, somewhere. Yeah, it was absolutely unguided. It's complete unguided process, unprepared and unguided. So it is what it is, and it can't be any other way in this kind of setting of society that we have.
But we know one thing, that it's nothing empowering. It is either connecting to having children, and this is the only reason we are engaged in sexuality, or it's pleasure, and this is why we're engaging. But if there's something deeper than that, this has been hidden and nobody had actually ever shared it. So this is something that we need to declutter our mind and our body from the clutter that has been accumulated through the years of living in this impure energetic environment when it comes to sexuality. Because it's too loaded and too many things are coming up that are preventing us from being in the completely safe and neutral and sensitive space in order to actually work within that context. So you can imagine meditation. It's kind of like meditation. When we start meditating, all we have is a bunch of huge thoughts that are kind of pushing us in every possible direction. When we meditate for some time, we start to quiet our mind and we are able to start getting deeper and deeper. Well, same comes when it comes to sexuality. Imagine when was the last time that we could really engage and feel completely safe and completely in peace to even work with these energies. It has either been a novelty and we are super excited about new partner, so super loud, influx of adrenaline and the rush of novelty, or the fears that are coming up, or for men, the sexual thoughts, or the previous partners that start kind of coming up,
or
frustrations, fears, all these things. So the first thing, in order to even open this chapter, is we have to clear all of that crap, all of these unalignments that we have that have been attached to us through how sexuality has been since we started our journey on the planet.
Yeah, and so we call this phase a phase of purification. And although Pepe said that there's nothing to be purified because it's all already there. Well, we're taking the purification from the point of view of discernment, dissecting, decomposing, and sorting out things. So that's what we mean by purification. And then you keep what matters and what you want to keep. So imagine if you have a bucket of stone and sand and there's a nugget of gold inside, and say, oh, I have a gold. Yeah, but where is it? Do you know? Like somewhere in the bucket. So this is a little bit our state of awareness about our sexual energy and inner power. We know that there is a gold in the bucket of sand and stone, but we don't know really where. So the whole purpose of purification is sieving, sorting out, until you can put the finger on your golden nugget and you know exactly where it is and what it is. And you have dropped or kept aside everything else. But this purification is actually building awareness around the pure state of energy that most of us haven't known. It's not like you knew it and then you lost it and then you find it again. It's most of us have never known it.
Because even the first sexual experience has been imbued already with some sorts of stress. So we didn't have a way to actually start this from the neutral point, because it was already the peers, the expectations, the forbiddenness of it, hiding. It was all these things. So we don't have the ground zero, but we can imagine what it is. The ground zero would be complete relaxation and complete neutrality, with no expectations, with full trust, with only beautiful, loving field that is going to meet another beautiful, loving field.
And being completely aware of the flow of the energy of yourself and the partner. So, and that is a difficult part in current kind of constellation of sexual encounter, being aware of both energies and being aware of how it flows. That is what is covered with the noise of these expectations and, mental.
But I guess we can all imagine at least how it would be that it's completely pure and completely safe, and that we are, in loving awe that another amazing being is about to co-create with us. So with no traces of doubt, no traces of stress of any kind, no anxiety, just joy of co-creation together. So can you imagine that state?
So in the way to build the ability to operate within a sacred sexuality, in this purification phase, it's important to take and dissect one by one beliefs around it, preconceived ideas about it, everything you have ever heard, read, seen about it, everything that ever has been taught or imposed, and taking it all out one by one. But also the physical purification of your energy channels, and most importantly the sacrum, the coccyx area. That's where the old traumas, and not only from this lifetime, it's the collective, it's the general abuse of women, it's the general abuse of humans at all stages of their lives. So the cleansing of energy from the sacrum is what will kind of wake up a little bit of that original feeling about your own sexual energy. And anything that comes, and gets, it's like a fire, but if you wake up that fire, it can also burn what's around it, and focusing on that area, purifying that area, will bring up a lot of things. And if that sacrum area is not clean, it's not pure, it's really like trying to make alchemical potion or a homeopathic remedy, but with random swamp water.
Here's how it could work. So you can imagine if you want to create something using the sexual energy as it as its wave of propulsion. It's the same as you want to tell to the universe the message through the megaphone. But in a megaphone, you would need to speak really clearly. So it's like highly amplified message. But imagine if your message is the radio station between two stations with all that static, what you're amplifying is really noise. So the universe cannot really receive what you are trying to create. It is going to receive like amplified noise. That's kind of trying to create from the place of impure channel. So, and impure body, yeah?
That's why trying to move the energies at this stage before that sacrum and thoughts and mind has been purified is actually can be dangerous. This is where the neo-tantras and kundalini movings come in, because if you go straight to the chapter 16 of Mary Magdalene manuscript, how to breathe and how to kind of move energies, you're going to move a lot of stuff, more than you can handle at once. Yeah. Let's say moving kundalini energy in a loaded and dense body hits the first obstacle and hits hard. So it's really dangerous to attempt any kind of moving energy or any alchemical performance in the state of these dense entanglements. And really you can take homeopathy as an example. Yeah, if you want a pure remedy, well, you have to have a pure frequency of the ingredient and pure water, and that's what combines it together.
Yeah, that pure water is a good example.
Yeah.
Like in Bali, you guys know regular water, Bali water, versus water that we bring purified from the temple. The one from the temple stays completely fresh for months. The one that we just get from the river will soon start having, you know, this algae and will stop being clear very, very soon. So that purification has been done, and this is what we mean with the purifying of our energies as well.
And many of you, so you guys who are in the screen and you guys who will watch later, I know personally, you know, beautiful ladies that have this kind of inner sense of preserving their purity, so not engaging in destructive sexual encounters, because there's this ununderstandable and mystical sense of preserving one's own purity. And when we say that we're preserving our own purity, from what? Exactly from these deviations, because in order to take it to the next level, well, less you have destructive experience, less you have to kind of cleanse of it after. And in the right moment, the right information will come and the work will be much faster and easier. So this first phase of purification is absolute beginning of the journey, without which nothing of
step one.
Yeah, nothing of quality can happen if this step is not respected.
So to say 3 steps, first is purification, the other one is resting, and this is once that we purify, there is this period where we just need to rest and detox and feel the new cleansed, you know, it's almost like post-operation rehabilitation. So when we have a surgery, we then need to rest for some time in order to actually get back into the normal functioning with the world, with universal energies, with the cycles of life, cycles of the earth. And then we can go to the 3rd step, which is actual sexual alchemy. So but purification and the period of rest and resting or detox, we call it the same.
Let's look about the detox resting period, how it functions in the setting of the couple and how it functions alone. Because we didn't specifically mention, because we take it for granted, but the sacred sexuality is not something that can only be done in couple. Yeah, in couple it's more fun. And it's more kind of real, actually, you know.
But for us, it's more fun. For somebody, it's more fun to do it.
There's reflection, because you know, it's one kind of experience, but it's not that it has to be with a
Mhm.
partner. All of that can be done, within
Yep.
within oneself.
Mhm.
So let's say when a couple comes together and decides, okay, we want to take it a little bit to the conscious level, and they start doing the purification. They purify from, old partners, all this energetic accumulation that they have had together or by themselves, doesn't matter. And in the second stage of resting, it's a kind of a little bit difficult to imagine when you are kind of actively in love, or maybe it comes later in the history of a couple, but you have this period that you have to allow each other to rest from everything, every kind of sexual behaviors or ideas or drives
From before.
or
But it doesn't mean
obligations.
that you are not engaging in sexuality with your partner. It just means is you are
It's
kind
total
of
freedom.
total freedom and building up that there is no obligations, there are no expectations, there are no goals, and the sexuality can freely flow how it wants. So it is really kind of getting used through this period of rest, getting used to act on whatever might come, and not having to do anything at the same time. So it's literally the period where we are honing. It's like
It's getting back to naturalness,
Yes.
to naturalness that maybe we have never known before, because there hasn't been this space where we could ever be natural with our bodies, with our energies. There's always, at first, in teenagers, there's the completely crazy drives taking over. So there's only later in life we have even a capacity from body perspective to come to that naturalness. Yeah. And including this parenthesis in any relationship is actually very, very healthy, where it's not even talking about it. How do you like it, or how often do you want it, or negotiating, or who decides when or what. It's taking away any concept, any rule, any question, any obligation.
why is this important is that we want to feel how it is when we actually act on the inner flows of subtle energy. So maybe we have engaged because there was a movement, planetary movement, and then we feel that we are moved into also kind of united as that planetary movement. Can that free flow sexuality be?
Yeah, so it is the fast after the purification.
Exactly.
So it can be also fasting. The partners can decide, now we're fasting to get back to ourselves and our channel of energy. And you will see it's very, very surprising what it does actually. Instead of kind of mechanically negotiating, I have high level of needs, you have low level of needs, and then trying to negotiate it into balance. Actually, there is a higher intelligence behind the bodies, and they know exactly, bodies are in touch with natural rhythms, with seasons and times of the day. And when
all cycles, yeah.
And when both partners have calmed themselves down, weeded out the drives and obligations and expectations and everything, and are in pure listening to the body, you can't imagine the amazingness of synchronicity, which is it between partners. And there's no more category of your needs, my needs, every day or once a month. There's nothing of that, because there is these natural forces working through the couple and beautifully taking it in the right moment, in the right proportion, in the right setting. So this period of resting is very refreshing in any couple's lives. And it's not to say, okay, so we sleep in separate rooms for next 1 month and then we see. No, it's just having no rules. And no rules is what we never had in sexuality. There has never been a space for no rules. Even being single doesn't mean you don't have rules, because we have never dared to allow ourselves that state of being.
So this period of purification and the rest are somewhat kind of like overlapping each other, because the more that we weed out the musts and the directives of social directives, church directives, anxiety directive, or whatever, the more we are able to actually observe how now the body, or the bodies if it's a couple, actually start to behave differently. And it's almost like it's starting to free flow. You can imagine it as, like floating on the surface of the ocean, and not trying to swim upstream, swim downstream. You just allow the waves to take you. And what are these waves? These are the waves of planetary movements, the waves of phases of the sun, the moon, the earth,
Cycles
the waters,
of nature.
cycles of the body, cycles of the nature, and we are part of these cycles. So we haven't been part of the cycles because there was so much of this static within us. So as we pluck out one by one those static influences, we start to really float like what are they called? The little seahorses, like seahorses, yeah? How they float with the movement of
Currents.
the water and the currents. Well, this is how our sexuality starts flowing with the currents of subtle energies around us. So this rest phase was necessary so that we even feel and observe our movements within these, in a context of these subtle energies.
So that's in the context of a couple, and I remember Sylvia's question from last week. So, what to do if you're separated from your partner for a year or so. And Pepe said, well, look for what's the opportunity. So this would be the opportunity. If for some reason you have a partner, but you are not in touch with, so this is the opportunity to do this, the purification, regeneration, and coming back to your own naturalness of things, and really paying attention. It's not the moment to just sit and, okay, there's nothing. It's an active engagement with yourself to feel the energy as it is, and maybe different from as it was before when the couple is together and actively engaging, but understanding as it is, and both partners can do it on their ends. If there is no partner, active partner, you can, instead of sitting and waiting for an opportunity to engage, you can do these steps all by yourself and dedicate attention and time for the same process all by yourself. And you'll see, actually, the sacred sexuality doesn't mean that you are trying to find the right partner to empower some project. You can do it all by yourself with the same energy. It's yours, and it's your powerhouse to create your own life. So all of these steps apply also to single persons. It's even more controllable in a way, and that power will wake up to create whatever you want also by yourself.
Hannah is asking about concrete and practical steps, how to actually purify. So yeah, we'll talk about this, or if you want to mention already.
The steps, it's holistic again, yeah. It's identifying the beliefs and then working on beliefs without whatever methods work for you. Identifying emotional traumas and getting rid of them, however you know how to do it, breath work or therapy or this or that, or talking. Very efficient method is actually to do it in couple. If two people meet and they decide, okay, let's purify each other first, actually it works very well. It's an absolute shortcut. If it's done consciously, There are amounts. It's like you wake up, you wake up a fire, the fire of the couple, and you throw your previous everythings in that fire. It's super efficient, and it's actually also a huge bonding. So it can be done that way. But identifying the mental restrictions, for example, we mentioned those religion and childhood upbringing and the place of birth, kind of Catholic settings. So these have to be addressed very specifically. And we have to really detach them from our perception. And at the end, what the purification is to claiming your own right on your energy and your body outside of anybody's opinion that you ever heard. Maybe you can just kind of really focus and directly step out of all of that. Or maybe you have to peel it one by one. It's very personal, very individual. But bringing awareness to the topic will show you the method and what's the best way to do it.
And of course, in the course, we will have...
In the course with Pepe, we will do that.
We will have the actual process through which everybody will go to and purify their own, all the touches.
Yeah, music, for example, Pepe's music is, in one concert, he was playing flute, and there was this connotation of, just let go, whatever you don't need. Very simple. I was crying for the whole session, for the whole way back home, and for 3 hours after. Like, huge releases happen through just music when it's played by someone who holds this frequency of purity.
And your intention is to actually purify what is stuck there. So that's one way of purification that we will have.
Yeah, so there are many ways, but knowing what do you purify from is this what will bring the method.
Yeah. So
then back to the detox and resting phase. So once you have kind of, and it can take anything from, I don't know, a month to a year or 2 years, this resting phase. But this is crucial because you just have the rest of your life after that. So it's worth actually understanding and being so comfortable and so in peace with yourself.
And your body, yeah.
And your body. That it actually sets in order also all other areas of your life, like self-esteem, and you can imagine what else gets aligned through this period of naturalness where you can just afford to be. So this period comes to an end when actually you are so comfortable and so natural that you start perceiving these higher energies working through you and the partner. When you understand that you are, passionately making love on the 1st of May without understanding that it's Beltane and it's the merging of God and Goddess, and then you just read about it and say, oh, wow, what a coincidence. Well, that means you're ready.
You have felt and acted on the energy that came from the outside.
And when you're generally celebrating actually the interaction and this huge freedom that lies within non-obligation of whatsoever, and then you're truly free, and then your mind is also free to go to the next step, which will involve high levels of precision.
Oh, Anna, that question whether you can purify with imagining fire, it's really like burning those things down. It's, whenever we visualize something, it could work if you knew what to purify. But if you say like purify any misalignments, that's not precise enough, because many of those misalignments you are not even aware that you have. So what's important is to first be aware, to like,
have a little list,
to like purify level by level, so that you really feel them in your body. This is, you guys who work with us know our method. Our method is we identify what it is in order to be purified, but you have to actually know it and feel it in your body. Once that you feel it, then you can get it out, burning it into fire or
Mhm.
however you want. But before you are aware, you don't even know what you're holding inside.
So,
So-
let's take a practical example. For example, these kind of religious dogmas, yeah, that are sitting somewhere deep. If you want to put it in the fire, the common fire, yeah, that the both partners kind of agree to make a little, session where they connect, they engage in lovemaking, and they consciously breathe all the conditioning from the church into that energy, and hold attention on that one specific layer of limitations, and hold the space for each other. Maybe the other partner doesn't have that conditioning, so it's good to take turns and to hold space for these releases through the lovemaking when the topic is more or less clear. Let's say the fears of abandonment, the fear of betrayal, all of that can go in the sacred fire of sexuality when it's conscious. But it has to have a name, and it has to have, you have to feel it in the body. Yeah. And once you feel it in the body, you can also feel when it's no longer in the body.
So this is really a shortcut. If you are able to name it like this and then burn it in a fire, it's really a shortcut. Another way is to use, like be with someone with whom you feel so comfortable and just engage in sexuality so that you become gradually freer and freer and freer. This is a longer way, and it is going to also purge out the unalignments, but it lasts longer. Then, slowly the layers will have to peel. And this would probably go through, it just would take some time. If you want the shorter way, then you first identify what it is and then burn that thing. And then the new level comes up, you burn that thing. The third level comes in, usually after several levels that you have met, then you have purified those things.
One important, maybe we didn't specify enough, one important thing to purify from is all the ex-partners. Because what happens, and what we don't know, because we don't see, what happens that every single person that you have had an encounter, and especially a sexual encounter, leaves a trace in
a memory
in your body. You might not remember, you might think, oh, I'm so over it. Yeah.
Memory in the body versus memory in the mind.
Yeah. It's not that you don't remember in your mind, that your body doesn't remember. Your body and subconscious remembers everything, every detail of it. And those energetic imprints stay active if they are not, deactivated, because we somehow understand the way to engage, that there's a beginning, so we sort of create an opening, but we never really do the closure, except withdrawing the bodies. But the bodies go away with this active memory within. And these memories are accumulating, and when we it's very popular to cut cords. Well, it's not that easy, because you might cut the cord, but the end of the cord is still there, and it's
they will just get reestablished tomorrow. So for that day they will be cut, and then tomorrow they will be again, because like magnetic points are still within both of the persons. So magnetic points that are even creating the cord between them are there. So you have to actually get the whole core that creates the cords in the first place. Then you don't have to cut them. There is no more the attractor inside of us.
And we have done the processes also for people many times, and it's really from experience true that unless you completely dissolve and collapse the energy that has been between you and the other partner, it stays in the memory as an interference. So these need to be like really taken in a special topic, and we don't have like millions of partners, so it's calculatable number.
But literally, yeah, the purification has to go one by one. Person with whom we have had sexuality before is just, you know, we do this process of detaching and recapturing the energy that goes into that memory and reabsorbing this point into our energetic body. So it has to be part of the ritual. We can't forget it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's going to be the leak. Once that we start doing the actual alchemy, all of those previous engagements will leak the energy out. So
as well as the energy from previous engagements is constantly seeping in. So it's a super underestimated way of connections. And I think it's placed to mention one striking example that we had. A girl signed up for a session, actually a couple of sessions, because her love life was complete mess. And her life was, you know, extremely emotionally inflammable, very, very unstable emotionally. And then we dug down to the core, seeing, so what's up with this girl? And she had, like, she calls that she's unlucky in relationships. And then we asked her to make a list of her partners that she has been engaging with, and she got us like 3-page list of guys, you know. Given her age, it was quite striking, the number of persons. And then we checked the energy,
we get to be able to measure what is the energy engagement, how strong it is still on or not.
And it's almost like if the girl was actively perceiving, you know, the energy of 50 guys and their respective partners, who are all in, you know, kind of unsettled emotional engagement between each other, and she was constantly, as a sensitive person, she was constantly getting the ripples of these emotions of other partners coming through. And every time she engages with a new person, without closing anything within the previous one, there was this huge mix and mismatch of energies going on, which created a complete misunderstanding of with whomever she was in relationship. So it's only after closing the tabs that she could even start to think what she likes, whom she likes, and how she likes. So a big deal, these energetic cords that are created with anyone that we're in close contact with.
So that's under the purification. That's one of the things that need to be purified.
Yeah.
So what next?
So the next is, once these two stages have been completed, we sort of skipped a little bit the beginning of a relationship, somehow presuming that you already are somewhere in between. But in case if you are aiming for the next partner, it's useful to know that the first time that you connect with someone is absolutely crucial. It will be defining more or less the rest of your relationship with this person. So the first time that you physically connect, where, when, at what time, how, what's the setting, what's the energy in the place, it has to be a sacred ritual if you want the rest of the relationship follow on the same quality. It's almost like the quality that you embed in the first encounter, first physical merging with the person, is setting the tone for everything else. And
that's why we always say you don't start with sexuality with a new person. You first connect on many other levels, and then very strictly planned, you actually engage in this first contact, because it's really writing the and for you guys who are already in partnerships, you can reset this by consciously saying, okay, this is our new first sexual encounter, sacred sexuality encounter, and from there you start the new, so to say, like the new sacred sexual engagement with your partner. But that first engagement has to be very, very
carefully planned out.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like maybe it will get some romantic or spontaneity off, but it's worth it. It's worth it because you are actually, this is where you demonstrate your consciousness about the sexuality. And this is where you actually give that sacredness. Nothing makes it sacred except you. So preparing very carefully the first, the first night together. And that's why in traditions, it was kind of right after the marriage, the room was prepared. It was the right moment. So it's when you plan it in a way that has all the ingredients of purified space, conducive atmosphere, and openness and love on both sides, well, this creates the frequency on which everything else will evolve. So a successful couple will have this thread almost like a good luck. It will be expressing as a good luck, throughout the encounter, or misunderstanding if the first encounter has been, I don't know, in a backseat of the car or some very random place. So if you have a possibility or you have a feeling that, you need to reset something there, you can always do this, choosing the right moment, and nothing is fixed and nothing is set. Everything is possible to be recreated from in any moment. And it's quite important energetically to do that. Also demonstrating the engagement towards the other person, like you offer your openness and the other offers his openness on the common table, creating an obviously non-judgmental space, a safe space where both can heal, purify, rest, and then create. So that's how energetically that sequence goes, where it's actually in your hands. It's all in your hands and the level of your awareness at every step of the way, without making it stiff or artificial, because it's not because we have some guidelines that it has to be stiff or artificial. It's within that framework, actually there's a lot of room. So now that we have rested, we feel the natural rhythms, we're in peace with ourselves.
Now we get to sacred sexuality, actually.
Now we start.
So this
talking.
was all preparations, yeah?
Yeah, now we can start talking and understanding what it is that creates things, and how and where is this center of power that we're talking so much, and we know that it's there. At this stage, we are holding the golden nugget, which was buried in the heap of stones. We're holding it. So now what do we do with it? We can as well do nothing. There's nothing that we must or have to do, but it's a huge possibility.
Well, the huge possibility here is that we really now have a contact with pure energy, pure sexual energy, which is ours. And once that it's pure, it's highly concentrated, like in homeopathy, and we can do with it wherever we want. So whatever we want, yeah. So one thing that we can do is we can invest it in our relationship, for example, in our partnership, and we can just nourish. It's like it's a high cosmical nourishment. This is what this sexual energy is. So we can nourish anything that we want. One thing that can happen is we can nourish our partnership with it. Other thing that we can do with it is we can empower a specific outcome that we want. For example, a project we are working on. For example, we are starting maybe like a musical project, and we can send that energy that is created through the sexuality into the energetic vessel of the project that we are creating, our musical project, for example, or like a movement, or the community, whatever we are, the school, whatever we are working on. This is highly fertile energy that can be that can water anything that we want to water with, and the results are amazing.
Yeah, it's not even water. It's water with steroids and vitamins and amplifiers of all kinds. So if this energy is pure and well directed, it can literally there's no limit to what it can create. And I can give just a little example of what I have seen personally, that sometimes people agree, you know, the men who have mastered the energy and they know what they're looking for, they consciously choose, or that's also the spiritual kind of masters or gurus that misuse. It can be used or misused. Many gurus actually misuse this power because they know how to direct it and they know where they're directing it to.
But give a good example first.
And the good example is that, for example, a guy who wanted to start community in Russia, and he needed like a huge amount of money he needed investors, you know, it's like millions of dollars of investments to start a community. And of course, he doesn't have that money nor contacts. So he found a girl who was very pure and very established in her femininity, and made a deal with her and said, you know, I just need your energy. So sorry, I'm very direct. I need your energy, but I need you to be willing to give it to me. So he actually knew how to bring that trust and the deal on the table, basically, where the girl felt really like a queen. She felt honored, respected, and she signed up for the deal, and she didn't mind because it doesn't cost her anything like that, except that so in this exchange, she also got, she got the instruction of the next level. But the guy actually, with this one encounter and properly conducing the ritual and harnessing the energy, he actually made his project happen. Millions came in easily, investors, everyone lined up as by miracle. But there's no miracles. There's just enough energy for a thing to happen when we know how to direct it.
So this is example of a really conscious and responsible person who had actually taken care of both sides and did not cause any damage, but has actually directed in the right way. We have millions of examples of people who partially know how to do it and cause damage. And then lots of clients that we have are, you know, especially when we were in Ubud, we have tons of girls who came from those so-called neo-tantric workshops that were trying to do something like this, but came with extremely damaged energy field. So you had to really extract from where they came from.
Extremely damaged is not just feeling bad. Extremely damaged is close to death. So I have encountered people who practice these, dark tantras in Ubud, and I have healed really the victims of it, which are so depleted of the vital force that a girl, like 25-year-old girl, she is close to death, and she has, -0 of all vital forces, completely depleted. Plus, they have nasty ways to attach that vital force to themselves. So they use these cords to pump energy from multiple partners and channel into whatever they want. So being non-aware of the energy behind sexuality can make one very, very vulnerable. Being aware of the connections linked to sexuality makes one empowered to use it for yourself, or just let it be. You don't have to use it. It's a possibility. It's a possibility if there's interest, if there's precision, if there's purity of thought and intention. It's all possible. It doesn't have to. At the very least, you will never be abused because you will know how things work, and you will be aware of your energy levels that will tell you, are you doing the right thing?
So chemical part, I think we will get into the detail of that when you guys are ready and pure. But the elements are this. The elements are absolute precision. Another element is to know how to actually establish the target of the energy to be transmitted, and then how to actually transmit it and on which levels. Because, yeah, there are several levels on which we do this. And how to conduct this energy from your body into the external outcome, that's the whole thing of that precision. So I think we will go into the more details once that we actually take everybody through the purification process.
Yeah, it's
So
it's a well-established knowledge, which is of course not available in books or on internet. Whatever is readily available is just part of the truth and can really be damaging. So beware of things like that. You will get, if you're really interested in this high precision conducting of energy, you will have to get a really trustworthy person that kind of guides and teaches all stages of the process. Or this information, you can have it if you have enough silence and purity within your own mind. You will know how to do it without any recipes.
Safer way to do all with this is to limit it into the internal alchemy and to actually create the energy, feel the energy, and send it back to the benefit of your couple and yourselves and your health. This is amazing way towards health, for example, healing anything that we want to heal. This, when it stays within, it's so much safer. When it starts getting out, well, then the whole world is going to feel the consequences of your work. So if this is not highly precise, it can really be damaging. And this is why this knowledge stays
after
hidden and shared
behind many kind of security doors.
Yeah.
So if that's not the level that you're aiming at, then
it's fine. You
can leave it as an information.
Mm-hmm.
But what actually is very helpful is to know how to breathe that energy from the purified sacrum into any part of your body, how to generate, amplify, and concentrate the energy. For example, in Mary Magdalene manuscript, it's written in detail, but how to focus it in your pineal gland and from there distribute to wherever it's needed for your own health, well-being, and material success. So internal alchemy can't really do any harm when it's performed with this like sincere and pure intention. Pure and simple intention. That is very, very important. Pure and simple intention.
Exactly.
That you are not trying to outsmart yourself, but you have a purpose, where the energy lies in your body, and you're dealing with that energy and bringing it to where you feel it needs to be. There was this fascinating interview on Gaia TV with a guy who broke his spine and couldn't walk, and he healed himself in a hospital bed just by doing this, just by waking up that energy, directing it into healing spine, and he was walking after 3 months of after having broken the spine.
So the power that we have is tremendous, and the point is to really, and we know, okay, so this is how we know whether it works or not. If we are precise and pure enough or not, you will see that it worked and it healed, or it did not heal where you have sent the energy to heal. And if it did not, that means that, okay, so we need to kind of be a little more precise and maybe purify a little more. And once that you start feeling and seeing the first results, it's just amazing. See, oh my God, this is what do we have here?
Yeah.
And it's then the inspiration is there to continue and go deeper.
Mm-hmm. So to make it clear, the sexual alchemy is a combination of trained mind and relaxed body. Yeah. So, and it doesn't have any other purpose than directing the energy to
specific outcome,
to create something else. The sacred sexuality, which is also part of it, can be celebration of life, you know, together with the other, and it's acknowledging the divine that you are engaging with. It's really the merging of God and goddess, and it's a very, you know, nice and empowering concept when you consider that you are doing this merging between divinities, and, you know, Shiva, Shakti, God and goddess, however you want to call it, but the sacredness comes because you give it to your encounter, and then other subtle dimensions can open through this awareness of honoring the other as manifestation of divine. So that's the sacred sexuality, and it's not about which one has more pleasure. It's about how alive you feel during those encounters.
So to give one more parallel, we know that so sacred sexuality is creating something as God, as goddess, as a divine sources. So we know all that the one creation that we know is possible is creating a child, and creating a child is built into us as a species, and it doesn't require so much precision on our own because it has been built and controlled by the drive within humanity to propagate the species. So you can imagine that the same amount of precision is necessary in order to actually create something else that is not built into the species, but can come out of the conscious effort if the precision and purity have been cultivated to the enough high level. So that's the parallel. So this is the overview, guys, and then we have a lot of details how to get there. So
yeah, in general, this is really going beyond whatever you know as sexuality so far, because it can be so much more, and it's worth actually paying attention to that part of our lives.
Yeah, it's worth understanding that there is more things beyond just pleasure of sexuality. There is so much more. And to get to that next step, it's actually paying attention and going to the more subtle levels of it.
And now I guess because you know us, and you know that we're investigators in different topics. So we have investigated also the pitfalls of everything sexuality related, and we could share with you some common misconceptions and misunderstandings, because as Hannah says, you know, this like, is it true, is it not? And labels and titles and everything that gravitates around, it's very difficult to actually find that small path that goes through the jungle of junk. Yeah. And we can share some of the pitfalls that we have really invested time to figure out, so that maybe it can be a shortcut for your understanding as well. And one of them is Tantra. What is Tantra? And, you know, depending on where you live, if you live in Ubud, Tantra has a very interesting connotation. And if you live in Europe, it might sound like something Indian, something, yeah. And the actual difference between Ubudian Tantra, Neo Tantra, you know, kind of unchecked sexuality under the title of Tantra, the difference is that whenever you see Tantra associated with wild lovemaking with multiple partners and sexual explorations that start right with, you know, breathing, engaging, and moving sexual energies straight with the couples, that's where all the red flags need to go out, need to rise up, because it's not what Tantra is meant for. Tantra is actually a technology, yet again technology, that comes from India, from India and Tibet, actually.
Some say China, and then it came to India. We don't know.
Yeah, let's say China, Tibet, India. And Tantra is a technology where you map a certain spiritual outcome to everyday activities. Yeah. And this is, guys, what we're teaching you intensely to do. For example, Tantra is saying, okay, if I put order in my cupboard or my drawers, this will put order in my mind. That is Tantra. That by doing an everyday thing, it has a spiritual result, spiritual meaning. And you know, we have been telling you multiple times, this is how you can change your unrealized potential or stuck up energies, you know, dig the garden, and that will unclutter your energy. Well, that is pure technology of Tantra, that you map things that mean something else, something that you do with your body to achieve a spiritual result or change. And when it comes to sexuality, actually, that's only one fraction of everything. You can be digging the garden or cleaning the cupboards, and it has the same effect if you map the intention on the sexuality. So it's not at all focused on sexuality. So Tantra and sexuality are not synonyms. They are not even about it.
Sexuality is a small part of it.
Yeah.
So.
It's sexuality is the same mapping as it could be anything else. So whenever you feel that under Tantra comes you know, lustful exchanges, that's where you really have to have all the filters on and high discernment coming up. Plus, plus actually, you know, it can be straightforward dangerous, because as we said, moving any kind of energies without the necessary purification and understanding can create a huge psychological disbalance. So all the neo-goddesses, for example, and, you know, who are channeling and transmitting and this and that, and they're aware of their body, but they're not aware of where that energy is going. So they create too much energy, more than they can handle, and they get all kind of psychological side effects. So when someone is emotionally ungrounded, we say, that means they have moved energy and they are not aware of the mechanics behind it. We have seen people who kind of spend 3 years in Tantra school, but they are not aware of what polarities mean. So that's quite startling, and you know, it can be actually dangerous.
But I guess the intention of our sharings here is to kind of give you an idea how huge those potentials we have if we engage in sexuality in this sacred way. And this is what we want you to kind of remap what the sexuality is there for, and to kind of understand the hugeness that lies behind this. And this is accessible to you if you are willing to go through these phases of purification and then resting and then conscious direction of your energies. And if you really understand that this is something that you can do yourself, this is what we would like to kind of initiate and start on this day, 1st of May, in all of our lives. So this is actually our purpose here.
And from last week, there was a good question of, so does it first start within myself, and when I'm ready, then you know, the partner will appear. And it's exactly that. So there's this concept of Hieros Gamos, and Hieros Gamos is the sacred marriage between God and Goddess. This is today. And what it means is that you have actually performed the sacred marriage within yourself. You have balanced your polarities, you have cleared them out, you have accepted yourself in the most simple form, without those extra polations. And when this sacred marriage has happened within, and both of your inner polarities are in complete harmony. So of course, what it can do in outer reality, either throw out, it will just kick out the partner who is not balanced and seeking this, active polarity exchange and based on wounds. So it can either kick out the partner who is not magnetized to that. It can invite someone who has done exactly the same thing on his own, and then it's just clicking straight away. Or it can mean that in your path, it's safer to continue the inner process and continue cultivating and generating these energies within yourself. So the change of partners when you engage in your inner marriage can be very sudden in one way as well as the other, kind of suddenly losing a partner or suddenly getting a partner. But it does really indeed start within, because aligned polarities is a very, very powerful energy. It's a magnet that draws in someone who is compatible, because ultimately, the divine actually wants these, it takes few couples to change the world, few completely aligned couples to change the whole energy of the world. In Egypt, there are priests and priestesses that maintain the whole country in prosperity by performing rituals of sacred sexuality. To that extent, it's powerful. So it really takes not that many couples that are completely aligned within themselves and within each other.
For Egypt, there was just one couple who was actually in charge of creating prosperity and bountiful harvests and everything. So only one for the whole country. So you can imagine the amount of power.
Yeah. So that's, it's not a universal path. I'm saying this because, among you, there are people who are destined to this path, and they've been extensively clearing the wounds in order to rise in that Heroes Gamos, personal inner marriage of God and Goddess. And there are others who don't need that level of engagement and can actually, with this information, just enjoy a simple pleasure and joy and wonder of sharing life with another human being without this troubling layer of insecurities and doubts and everything. And there's not one that is better or sacreder than the other. It's a matter of how far you want to go in the topic, and how free and peaceful you want to feel within yourself and within your relationship.
So shall we open it for some questions, or?
Yeah, if you have some questions. And we mentioned Tantra, same goes for Kundalini, multiple partners. So any questions that you have, this is the moment to throw them in. Or it's also clear, no more questions.
Well, one thing that we are actually holding here for you guys is actually that kernel, the seed of where we have arrived, and it's there for you, and it is transmitted just by us sharing the screen together. So this is what you are getting as our gift from today's session. So if there is some little mind words around and questions that are there, we can answer them. But energetically, what we are offering as a gift is the seed and kernel of sacred sexuality that you can actually nurture from today on in your lives. So this is what we have energetically transmitted.
So Eleonora and David. So who? I don't know who was first, but okay, let's see, Eleonora, your question.
Okay, so my question is about the decision about making a child. You know, which phase, I mean, if should be or should it be like the flow and, you know, to feel the right timing and etc. What are your like opinions? I mean, about to have a ritual or not, like how this should happen.
Great.
Mhm.
Great. Yeah, it's amazing. You know, it's we don't have that many children in our lives, so it's actually worth paying attention to the process and the right moment. And it's very, very. It could be taken to a supreme level of beauty and purity, as well as it can be completely neglected and by the way process. And what we would recommend from this alchemical and energetic perspective is, of course, to create a proper vessel for that. And including in that vessel is the fact that you will have to be there with a partner of your choice for at least the first 7 years of life of the child. So this comes in a package. Um, you know, you need to be ready one way or the other to stick around with each other for at least those first 7 years. So that must be the primary engagement before inviting a new human being in this world, to keep a steady polarity of mother and father for that time being. And that will come before any kind of personal preferences or discussions. And once that kind of parameter seems to be possible, then, you know, in Damanur, the alchemists, what they do, they actually prepare their bodies themselves, the couple, they have like a 1 year long preparation to even, you know, invite the soul in. And they know
Inviting the
exactly
soul.
whom
Yeah.
and how. And they say, you know, the higher vibrating womb, the higher vibrating soul can come to you. So the place where also you make you know, you create this possibility for creating a child. The place is important. What kind of energy is around? What kind of
Yeah.
souls do you have access to? All of that really, really matters.
But literally also seeing that you're inviting a soul that is already prepared somewhere in the universe to come. So you're not really creating a child. You're creating the energetic envelope where the soul is going to come and be embodied. So to actually have this higher understanding of what's actually happening, because you will probably get a teacher that will come to teach you things. And at first, the teacher will have forgotten how to speak and walk. So the teacher will first have to relearn how to walk, how to speak, how to digest, and all of these little things. But that awe and admiration for the teacher cannot be diminished through those phases where they are still not accustomed to this body, because they're coming from the depths of the universe and with the task that they have. So it's really, it's very helpful to actually go through the preparation phase to have this higher context in what is actually happening. And then probably to call that soul and already establish the connection before you even engage in calling it in, maybe kind of connecting to its song or its name, or, you know, like really engage in this connection before it's connected to the earth realm. So there's a whole process that needs to happen.
And plus, it's a mix of honor and responsibility when you're giving a body to a soul. So, and it's all in your hands. So I would recommend that it's the best that you have completed the purification and the resting phase, so that you actually feel, because every particular soul will have its special place where they want this initial kind of two cells merging to happen. Some of the souls will need it to happen in the nature, because you know, the frequencies that are around during the conception are so extremely important. You can't believe when we're doing the readings what troubles people have gotten in their lives just because the parents were in the wrong place, you know.
What were their thoughts while they were conceiving the child? What were their fears, anxieties? So the whole thing is built into the vessel that this poor soul will have to deal with for the whole life. So being conscious around how you start the whole thing and how pure you were, and especially like every thought matters all the time, but especially through the time of conception, and carrying the child in the womb and including the giving of the birth, those are imprinted. This soul will deal with these things for their whole life. So it's good to be prepared.
And when you are in tune with your natural rhythms, you will know in which season, in which month, in which day of your cycle actually is the best moment. You cannot plan it out. You can only feel it through. And the connection and the magic will happen when you will be a responsive and responsible body that can be guided to this best possible moment.
So yeah, it's a little more complex than that, but we are happy to share more details if.
Yeah, it's extremely kind of noble process when someone opens up to give a body to the soul. And there are so many kind of super advanced souls that don't find a good body because it's just frequency wise incompatible. So if there's a conscious opening that can provide a high vibrational body, it's a great opportunity, and it will be greatly appreciated.
David?
Yeah, thank you. So I have a question about, especially related to emotion. So what I got, especially from the talk, is like your relation to yourself is key, basically, in sexuality. Otherwise, you can have a perfect partner if you are not in tune with your emotions. It's like it's not gonna work straight away. My question is relating to with the emotions, like about somatotherapy or myofascial release. If you had any insights about how to, I mean, there's so much work to do, so many modalities, but just to pick up your brains on somatotherapy, myofascial release, or these things in terms of physical work.
I don't think we have a specific opinion about these modalities. I know what it is. I know that, you know, to some extent it works. I would say all about healing is too complex today. Like, it's really too much. There's too much of modalities, too much of information. And the
like
way
Pepe says, it's breathing. Breathe.
Yeah, the way to go about it is when you're purifying, you want to release the mental hooks together with the emotions that are stuck in the body. And breath work is the closest that gets to that. Breath work alone cannot be a full solution because you still need to get it out of your mind. So you need to understand what's happening. You cannot just release. So from the body, you release the accumulation of emotions. With the mind and, you know, let's say our methods of, we have perfected the method so that they're the most efficient possible. Yeah, like releasing the outer egos and beliefs. It really works and is super shortcut. So combining the conscious releasing with anything that releases from the body, that works very well. And the breath work and massages, but you know, once you're in the process, you have to trust the guidance that maybe that somatotherapy will work for that one issue at that time. I have had, you know, completely random massages, but in the right moment that released what I needed to release, and nobody understood what's going on, but it was out. So good.
The point is that the thing that needs to be released, that you are ready to release it. And then through whichever method comes your way, this thing will want to jump out anyway, because it's ready, it has been seen, it's ready to be released. you have commanded it to release. Oh, okay, in the most simple way to release it is you have found an issue and you have commanded it to go. According to the cosmic law of free will, it cannot stay, it must go. Even if it's an entity, even if it's super negative entity, it must go. If you have, but it's like stated with lawyer precision who you're talking to, because you will try to hide and say, oh, you didn't mean me. So you have to first say very, very precisely who, and then to call in the law of free will, and then to order this entity out. And it cannot stay. There's like just no way that it will stay. If everything has been done with that precision, whichever, like our Damanorius says, say on top of this, whatever level of drama you need in order to make it happen, well, make your drama. If you need like
if you need to go to Amazonia to do that, go to
Yeah,
Amazonia.
exactly.
If you can do it sitting on your couch, it will work as well.
So this is basics. On top of that, whichever level of drama is needed, you build it up.
Yeah, sometimes it's more impactful if we have some agitation around it, but at the end, what counts is pure mechanics. Find the virus, reprogram it, release it from the body. That's all there is. Modalities, and don't get stuck in any modalities. It can work for one time and then
it will super work if you're ready, whatever you have come up, what came into your life.
Trust the synchronicity. Trust really the synchronicity.
So we have Anita's question, and then we will go to Vanita. So first, Anita wrote that she was grown in a very dogmatic family. They wanted to teach that sexuality is huge sin without marriage, and the partner won't respect her or love her anymore if sexual encounter happens. How I could overcome this deep fear. So yeah, this is one of these things that we mentioned that it came from the upbringing of your parents, and they honestly believe that things are like this, but things are not like that.
Yeah, the shortcut would be actually understanding that, well, did you come up with this concept? No, it was told to you by someone that you you respected, but it's not your truth. So if you take it to this level of it's not your idea about sexuality, it's not your idea about marriage, it's somebody's idea. So why would that idea have so much impact? It could have come from government or your best friend or a book. Why would anybody's idea have so much impact over what you think it is? And you have to work on minimizing the impact of these outside statements, even if they are parents, but they
meant well, they didn't mean anything wrong. But we release our parents where we come at age of 18 or 21, depending on the culture. After that, they don't need to play anymore the role of the parents. So what they have done up to that point was, how they thought about it. After that, your responsibility takes over, and whatever you say, it is how it is for you.
And you empower your feeling about the question more than anybody else's. And you sit and meditate, and really it takes maybe an hour to meditate on this idea. So do I think like this? Do I really think like this? And find what do you think about it. And then of course energetically release those other opinions.
Yeah, but we work with a lot of people who are there, and it on some level or the other, you will take responsibility for that and take it out of your system. And if you need more guidance, we are happy to help or to connect you with somebody who can help you. So Vanita.
Hi.
Hi.
My question is, I think this topic is fantastic. Thank you for doing this for us. And what I was going to ask is, how do you use the sacred sexual energy on your own without a partner? Because right now I don't have partner. So, and to use that to, and you probably have covered it, but maybe I did not get it clearly. And to use it to do a project or to manifest something that you want to create. How would you, yeah, that's my question.
So the question is how to generate this energy within yourself without the partner. And yes, you can do it because we have the male and female energy in us anyway, both of them. So what would need to happen is that you actually generate this energetic upsurge, so to speak, on your own.
So the way, how do you generate it? After you have purified from the ideas, yeah, because it's very important to have a clear feeling of your body. You would need to look for techniques that focus on the sacrum, yeah, on your base chakra, on your sacrum, and start feeling the energy, how it's moving. So there are, you know, all kinds of breathings that you know, breathe this energy out and through the channels, and Pepe is actually teaching some of them. Once you are actually aware of the flow of energy and you can manifest it at will, you can bring it up and down, and you can bring yourself to kind of almost climax, and then quietly, as he said, you know, and then quietly bring it down. That's where you can start manipulating with it and using it. But first you need to be in control, so it's not taking over you, but you have control over the process. That means you need to be able all by yourself to bring yourself to the highest point of energetic kind of excitement and buzz, and then quietly move that energy to whichever part of the body you want, or to put it right back.
So those exercises and practical ways how to do it, we will teach at the course, but this is the principle. The principle is that you will generate this energy within yourself. Why? Because in the universe, well, you are a drop of the universe, and there is first, there is both female and male within you. Second, there is a lot of the opposite energy. If you need more male energy than female, you can get it through the field, through, for example, connecting to the energy of Shiva. And then you connect with the energy of Shiva, bring it in, and we will teach, Pepe will teach at the course how this is done, but it is done by calling it in and then unifying it with your energetic field, and then directing it, well, in alchemical process, directing it from where you will beam it out, and then beaming it out. And there are specific ways to do that. And once that we are really purified, we will share some of the alchemical principles. We didn't want to share because it's very precise, and it go on this sharing because it's very precise and goes too much into details. But there is specific process how we do that.
So first, being aware, you can't do anything if you are not in mastering the flow of energy. So that's where it needs to begin.
And where it's ending is that this energy, once generated, is precisely sent into the energetic vessel that represents the outcome of your project. So this, if you can decipher it and even imagine the way to do it, it's right for you. We have our method and there are alchemical methods, but this is the principle. Principle is true from you through the alchemical, through the energetic vessel, and from that vessel it goes straight to the outcome. So that's in principle, but then step by step, we will have to kind of go into many more details to explain how it works. Does it answer your question for right now?
Well, so anyways, this is just a brief overview that we can give. You know, it's every word that we said has been tested and you know, extensively looked at. So you take what's resonating with you, you leave the rest for later. You know, it's all a matter of frequency, how we understand things. And what we would like to invite you to do is to use this beautiful energy of May, energy of Belton, and make this commitment to the other or to yourself to enjoy life and to enjoy the process of simple and natural connection to yourself and to the nature and to the others. Because that's what ultimately makes us alive.
And Anna's questions, where can we find details about the course? Well,
we will post
we'll post it. We will first
on
email
all our T channels and emails as well.
So we will email. We will put it on probably our Facebook page and our Telegram group. So
any of the next days
you can sign up on one of those. And probably the next 3-4 days is going to be up. We are planning to start already, probably May 11 or May 13, one of these two.
Voilà. So that's what we have for you today.
And we invite you to literally call in the sacred sexuality from this day on into your life. And from this day on, the sexuality in which you engage is a sacred sexuality and nothing less than that. So today is the right energy to give that commitment to yourself.
So enjoy yourselves, enjoy the others, and
big hug and lots of love to you guys, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was really great today to listen to you.